Hello everyone. How is everyone doing? I am so excited to kick off our first use case of the week session this week. I have with me Bruce, who's going to be joining us for this session along with our live audience. Thank you so much, Bruce, for joining us.
Thank you
So,
for the invite, Shreya, and glad to see you. You look well.
thank you. So do you. I
Appreciate it.
hope the
Appreciate
heat
it.
is not too bad.
Today is doing great.
I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that. We've been blessed with rains here, so hopefully
Oh, you
we
guys
don't
are
it doesn't cause too much flooding.
you're so lucky to get those rains.
So, just to give everyone a little bit of context, I'm sure whoever's watching is already aware, but we took a poll on our Facebook group a few weeks ago to try and identify what would be the most in demand use cases for us to demonstrate and discuss. And with that poll, we've narrowed down 6 use cases that we're going to be taking our audience through over the course of the next 6 weeks. And hopefully, we can revive this kind of session in the future as well. But our goal is basically for our users to be able to derive as much value as possible with Nexweave and get as creative and as innovative as possible. So, we're going to equip you with all of the tools through these sessions over the next 6 weeks. And we would really love it if you guys can come up with more ideas for us to try and accomplish for you, more feature requests, as well as maybe some great customer success stories that we'll get to be a part of. So that's our hope by organizing this session, this series. And yeah, we're ready to get started. So I think I'll dive right in.
Perfect. Real quick, I just want to say hi to Nordine. Thank you for the comment, and guys, feel free to drop in your comments, and we'll put them up on the screen too. And guys, feel free to drop in your comments, and we'll put them up on the screen too. And guys, feel free to drop in your comments.
Sorry, just give me a moment.
Sure thing.
All right, so let's get started. So, welcome officially to week one of our use case of the week series. So, this week we've gone ahead with our top voted use case, which is building personalized landing pages with Nexweave. Now, this is not going to be like your WordPress or swipe pages, those kind of landing pages. We're going to be covering that in one of our future sessions as well. Here, we're going to talk about Nextweave's integrated landing page builder. Yes, so in a recent feature upgrade, we have actually rolled out and introduced a landing page builder. Just like you have your image and template editor, we now also have a landing page editor where you can create simple landing pages that will be personalized for text, image, GIF, and video. So I'm gonna take you through creating one such landing page today, and I hope that you can replicate that and come up with some incredible ideas of your own. So, in terms of how we've decided to structure today's session is, I'm going to be spending the first about 20 minutes or so taking you through this demonstration, and then after that we open the floor up for questions. So you can post your questions in the comments, and if there's any question that you have in the middle of the session, please do remember to post it in the comments. We'll go ahead and take a look at that as well. So without wasting any more time, let me dive right in. So I'm going to be abandoning my presentation now, and I'm just going to move right into the Nextweave application. So the first question we have is, where exactly is this landing page builder stored? So if you take a look at your Nextweave main menu, just like you have video templates, image templates inside the main navigation, there's also a landing page template section here. So once again, when you click on that, you have some public templates that we've created for you. This section is also being expanded and built upon. And then any templates you create or edit or clone will be stored under your private library. So when you're ready to create a new template, all you need to do is click on the Create New Template button inside the landing page templates section. Now, if you've used Nexweave before, this would probably look a little familiar to you as well. So similar to the image and video templates, we have the design experience, enlist variables, and the define meta. For those of you who are new, I'll just walk you through this. Under design experience, pretty self-explanatory. We have the actual canvas and the components. So this is where you're going to see your landing page take shape. This is where the magic essentially happens. Under enlist variables is where you can specify what are the personalization details you want to feature inside your landing page. So by default, username is already added. This is a completely customizable page. You have complete flexibility over what information you want to personalize your landing page for. And then finally, define meta, which we're not going to spend too much time over, is essentially where you set up a few backend details. Some things related to the way that your links are displayed or something related to the name of the template, etc. So let's go back into design experience and just take a little bit of time to understand how this canvas and editor has been set up. Now, as you can see, this has been powered by Unlayer. Some of you may have used Unlayer editors in different applications as well. If you have, that's great because you're going to find this extremely simple to get used to and it's extremely simple to perform. But if not, it works like any standard drag and drop editor. So on the left-hand side, you have your actual canvas, and on the right-hand side, you have the components of the editor panel. Now, this itself has also been divided into three subsections. First, we have content, which is where you can actually see individual component panels. If I want to add heading to my landing page, I can drag and drop the heading panel. If I want to add text, images, buttons, I can drag and drop that particular content button right on to my canvas. Then we have blocks. Now, blocks really is going to be the defining factor when it comes to specifying the layout of my landing page. How many columns I want it to be. Each block can be divided into up to 4 columns, and through our demonstration, you're going to see how that comes, how that works as well. And finally, we have the body settings. Now, you can think of body settings as kind of global settings for your landing page. So if you have any global settings in terms of what kind of font family every piece of content you add to this should have, whether you should specify a background color for your content, what kind of width you'd like it to occupy on your page, etc. All of that can be set up from within the body settings. So I'm going to be making a few global changes here. Instead of Arial, I'm going to choose a different font to display. And I'm going to make sure that my text color is just slightly different than black. Just a personal preference. And for the sake of demonstration. So now that we've gone through these basic settings, let's dive into building a landing page together. Now, before we start tampering around with our editor, I would really like to go back to enlist variables for a second and add the variables here that I intend to use in my landing page. Now, this step is something that I like to do at the beginning of the design process. In terms of the way Nexweave is structured, you can come back and add variables at any time. So you could come back at a different stage, add more variables and make more edits to your landing page on a rolling basis, on an ongoing basis. That's completely possible. But just as a personal preference, I like to create variables beforehand. So in addition to the default, which is username, I also want to add a variable for company. I'm going to assign it just a fallback or a default value. This will obviously be replaced with my audience's information when I send out this landing page. And I want to add a third variable called website. Now, I have chosen these variables on the basis of the information that I have of my users, of my audience, and what I would like to personalize this landing page for. You could have a completely different set of data for a completely different set of users. So, this page is just going to give you the flexibility to choose the depth of personalization, the number of fields, including the ability to personalize the images, texts, and videos based on these variables. So when you make any changes to the Nexweave editor, always remember to save your template. Now let's go back to design experience and let's start building a landing page together. Now I have an idea in mind for a simple landing page. So I'm going to execute that. I'm just going to start with a completely blank slate. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is go to the blocks and add this 4-column block. What I want to do right now is set up a, let's add content here, sorry. What I want to do right now is essentially set up a block where I can create the header for my landing page. So I want to add the Nexweave logo here, and I want to add a login button on the right hand side. So let's go ahead and do that. Once I've added my 4 columns, you can see the editor open up on the side. I can make changes if I want to in terms of border, color, adding a background, padding, settings, individual options for padding if I want to as well. I'm not going to look at that right now. We'll come to that at a later time. For now, I'm going to focus on the right and on the leftmost content block here. Click on Add Content and drag and drop the image component. Now, why image? Because at this point, I want to add Nexweave's logo. So I'm going to click on Upload Image, and from my own files, I can just select Nexweave's logo and upload it here. So in this case, I have added a static image. What do I mean by a static image? This is not going to be a personalized image. This is just a basic, simple image that I've added to my landing page. You can do this by clicking on the upload image button or entering a URL you want to as well. The width settings for the image will appear right below. You can uncheck this if you don't want it to take up the full width, or leave that checked if you want it to. Now on the right hand side, I'm going to click on Add Content again, and this time I'm going to add a button. This button, I just wanted to say login. And on the right hand side under its settings, I can set up the action for it to redirect to the Nexweave application. And I save this template. Oh, another change, another little feature here is my image that I've added, I also have the option to hyperlink that image. So I'm also going to hyperlink this logo to the Nexweave website. Now, these settings you may have witnessed if you've used any other website builder or email builder. So this works very similar to that. It is a simple drag and drop builder. The next thing I'm going to do is add a heading to my landing page. So I just drag and drop the heading component. And I want to put the text here that says, here's a quick video to show what. And now at this stage, I would like for this text to be personalized to include the company name. So I actually wanted to say, here's a video to show what company could do with Nexweave. So how do I add this variable to my landing page? Now in the text editor, along with what you see on the right hand side, you also have some text settings that appear just inside the canvas. So these include things like emojis, strike throughs, underline, italics, etc. And there's a drop down for merge tags. This merge tags is going to input any variables you add under the endless variables tab. So when you want to insert that in your text, just click on the merge tags drop down, select the personalization variable you want to add, and you can go ahead and continue editing. So here's a quick video to show what company can do with Nexweave. And I'm going to pepper this with some emojis. So let's add some fire to it. Now, this is, as I mentioned earlier, just a basic landing page. You can get as creative as you want to with this. So now we've taken a look at how to add basic images, how to add basic buttons, as well as how to add text that is personalized to your landing page. Now let's get to the big boss of it all, how to add personalized images and videos. Now at this point, I want to remind you that what we're creating here is a landing page layout. So what we are going to add is the component for image and video, but we're not going to specify which video we want to include in this landing page just yet. But be patient because I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So now, when you want to add a personalized video to your landing page, there's already a component that's created called Nexweave video. So you can just drag and drop and place that here. It's that simple. You have an existing component or rather a placeholder component for where your personalized video will go. Don't worry, I am going to show you in just a few steps how you can specify which video exactly you want to be displayed here. There are some additional video settings available, such as if you want the video to be looped, if you want the video to autoplay. You can also set up settings in terms of the container padding. I'm just going to change this to the top padding and the bottom padding at 30 and leave the left and right padding to 10 and 10. Now, if you've used Nexweave before, you may know that in Nexweave, you can design separately a single video to appear differently for desktop as well as for mobile. So you can create in a single link a video that is responsive to both views. So if you intend for that to happen with your landing page as well, each of these settings that we've created, each of these components that we've added, we can edit them under the mobile view as well. So this will allow you a little bit of flexibility when you're designing this sort of landing page, right? Now there's a trick to adding the image component. Now you can see that there is an image component existent and we did add this Nexweave logo as an image. But how do we make this personalized exactly? Well, there's a little trick here. So we may not have a direct component like we do for videos, but you can drag and drop an image component. So my plan here is to put a sort of banner which contains my audience's first name and a little image there. And instead of uploading an image or specifying like a static URL, what I'm going to do is remove this URL and instead put the syntax square bracket image underscore URL square bracket closed. Now this is actually a little trick, a little workaround to get personalized images into the Nexweave builder. I know this page currently looks a little empty, but I promise you, I'm going to take you through campaigns and show you how you can actually specify which image and which video you want to be included here. Now, in this sample, I have added an image, a personalized text, and video. There is no necessity for you to personalize every component on this page. You could choose only to add a personalized image or only to add a personalized video as well. That is completely up to you. Just as finishing touches, I'm going to add a couple of more things. One text button, one text component that says interested to learn more. Book a call with us. And I'm going to add a button below this. To book a call. And this can be hyperlinked to your Calendly account, your web page, your HubSpot link, any meeting booking link, or honestly, any URL. So I'm just going to leave it to nexweave.com for now.
Shreya, when you get a chance, we do have a question from Ravi who asks if we can pass new variable values from URLs.
Is this for images?
Looks like he wants to apply it for different personalizations of names on landing pages.
Oh, Ravi. Okay, that's a good question. Yes, we can do that. I'm going to take you through how to do that when we'll take a look at sharing the campaigns. But definitely, similar to what we see in um, similar to what we see for images and videos, we can use URL parameters to specify what values these should take as well. So don't worry, I'm gonna dive deeper into this in just a little bit. Thank you, Bruce. So, getting back to this, just last minute changes before we take a look at a quick preview, and then we can move on to sharing these landing pages where I'll show you how to actually manipulate the data. So, I'm just going to quickly change Xcode. Perfect. So, this is my landing page layout. I know it looks a little bit empty right now. If you'd like, you can take a look at a preview at the bottom of the screen here as well, just to see how your components are shaping up. Don't forget in Nexweave to always save your templates for any changes that you take or you create here, because they don't automatically save. And the last thing I'm going to do is go into define meta and just name my template. Right? Now you might be wondering what this social preview is. So if you'd like to learn more about this, you can take a look at our help docs. But next week, we're going to be diving a little deeper into social previews, how to create them, why that's important, and how you can use this to share your landing pages on LinkedIn and social channels like Facebook. So stay tuned for next week's session. If you haven't registered, I will send you the event link towards the end of the session. Please go ahead and join that as well. So let me take a quick pause here because I know we may have gone through a lot of information. I'm going to head back into our chat and just ask if anyone has any more questions at this point. Bruce, did you witness any more questions? Okay, great. All right. Lovely. So let's go back. Okay, great.
No, I don't see
So
that.
let's go back into our session. And now I'm going to show you how you can share your landing page. Now, before I dive into the campaign section, I just want to quickly recap that my landing page, I intend for it to include a personalized image, as you can see here, and a personalized video, right? So before I dive into campaigns, I want to make sure that I have my personalized image, video, and its thumbnail created. So I went ahead and I created this banner image that I'm going to include in my landing page. I also created this video that I want to insert, as well as this image that I'm going to use as a thumbnail for the video. So these three assets. Now, if you've only created a landing page, if you've only created a video that you want to include, you don't want to include an image, that's perfectly fine as well. Then you just need to have your video and your thumbnail created. If you only have an image, then you only need to have your image created. For the sake of this demonstration, we have all three. Another thing that I want to point out here is that the variables that I've used, that is username, in this case, username, website, and company, and in this case, username and website, a union of all these three variables is what I have created under my enlist variables tab inside my uh, landing page layout. Now, it's not necessary that you use exactly the same variables across the board, but for the sake of consistency and for the ease of creating multiple personalization links and personalizing this for a larger audience, I would advise that you always try to maintain as much consistency as possible across your templates. So we're going to be personalizing this across the board, whether it's the text, image, or video, for three variables, which is username, company, and website. So now that we've got all these prerequisites analyzed, let's head on over to our campaign section. Now, campaigns, for those of you who may not be familiar with it, are essentially a method in Nexweave for you to create a shareable link. Now, campaigns can be created only for images and videos. If I just want to share an image link or just want to share a video link as it is, like a video URL. Or in this case, we can create a campaign keeping a landing page in mind as well. So let's dive right in. In the campaign section, click on Create a New Campaign. First things first is the campaign configuration. I'm going to set a name for the campaign. Landing page demo. And then we need to select our campaign media type. Now the campaign media type shows here three options, that is video plus image, video and image. Now, if you plan on sending out a personalized landing page through Nexweave that has been created in the builder, ignore the image option, even if your landing page contains an image. For the sake of simplicity, I will always recommend that you choose a video plus image option. And I'll explain in a few steps why. When we select the media type as video plus image, we're given the option to choose both the image template as well as the video template. Now, what's going to happen is in my landing page, the image URL portion, the component that was denoted as image URL, let me just pull that up here. So this image URL portion is going to get automatically replaced by whichever template I select under here. And my video URL portion, which is this one, will get replaced by whichever video template I select from this list. Okay. So now that we've chosen our campaign or our media type, let's select the templates we want to display in our landing page. So this is where we define what templates should be shown. Under image templates, I'm going to go with the image banner for landing page. Under video templates, I'm going to go with the video for landing page. And finally, I also get to choose a thumbnail for my video. This is where I'm going to select the thumbnail for video image. That is this one. And lastly, I can select my landing page template. So from the drop down, I'm just going to select the template that we built together. You can ignore all of these settings for right now. They're not relevant to the landing page building process, and they've been detailed inside our help docs in case you're curious to learn a little bit more about it. Once you've completed this configuration, all you have to do is click on Save and Proceed. So this takes you to the activation part of our campaign. Again, you may be familiar with this, but there are two ways to personalize the details on your page. One is through a bulk link campaign and URL override. I'm just going to go through each of these really quickly. In the bulk link campaign, I can download a template. When I do that, I would just like to reshare my screen. Just one moment. So are you able to see? I think you're able to see my screen now to include the CSV file as well. So when I download the template, I basically get a CSV sheet that contains 3 columns. These 3 columns, as you can see, are the 3 of my variables that I've used. If you use 15-20 variables, you're going to get 15-20 columns here. You can go ahead and just fill in information that you want to use to personalize your page. So I'm just going to put some mock data over here. So hypothetically, you could fill this with hundreds or even thousands of names of information. You can copy and paste and import data from your CRM or sales tool that you're using as well. I've just put in 3 rows of information for the sake of this demonstration. I'm going to go ahead and save this template. Now, once you've got the data included in that CSV, you can just click on the Upload CSV option. This is going to allow you to choose the same template that you added data to from your downloads. Upload it back into Nexweave. As you can see, there are 3 rows of information added, which is great. And now you can generate links. So whether this number is 3, whether this number is 10, whether this number is in hundreds, what Nexweave is going to do is take all of that data and generate as many links as you have the audience data for. And once those links are ready, you're going to be able to download them. And you see this column that says links, not image links, but links. So this has got individual videos or landing pages for each of the usernames that I've entered here. So let's take a look at these. I'm just going to copy one of the rows and open that in a new tab. So there you go. So you see, I had specified the name Shreya, the company name Apple, and the website as apple.com. And this has dynamically pulled in all of that information, including the Apple logo, the screenshot, to create a personalized landing page, which contains all of my audience information. Are you struggling to get engaged? You see the logo and the name appearing here as well. Similarly, it has also created links for the other names within that list. So let's quickly take a look at the video that we created for Bruce. Are you struggling to get engagement on? So there you have it. That's how you can personalize links in one go for an audience of multiple people, whether it's in hundreds and thousands or hypothetically even more. Now, the second method we had was the URL override method, which is the question that had been asked in the chat as well. So now if you would like to share, instead of downloading, or rather instead of supplying your audience data to Nexweave and then generating links for each of them, if you just like to directly send out this landing page link, say to a list of customers on a third-party platform that you have, or whether it's Salesforce or Lemlist or MailChimp or something like that, you can click on this Get Embed Code button. When you click on that, you can select any of our over 70 to 80 integration platforms that we already have on Nexweave. Now, this is just a list of names. Even if your platform does not match this list, but allows you to use URL parameters to personalize data, you can use the same method. So you just select the integration platform. We've imported a certain set of easy to find and commonly used variables or merge tags from these platforms. But if this doesn't match your need, you can also enter a custom title here. So I'm going to show you, I'm just going to enter my name here as a variable. Add this. Just select Shreya. I'm also going to set the website. And the company. Right? So I'm basically telling Nexweave here that I want the username to be equal to whatever I denote in this dropdown, website to be equal to whatever I denote in this dropdown, and so on and so forth. Once I have that, I can click on Generate Embed Code. It generates a code as well as a link that I can use. Now, this video link is exactly what is my landing page link. So I can copy this. I paste it into a new tab. And you can see the same landing page that we saw from our CSV sheet that we imported, that we downloaded from Nexweave, right? We've got the exact same sheet, but instead of getting a unique ID in that CSV sheet for every individual person in the list, I can also use a code like this to just change the values in the URL directly. So instead of Shreya, if I want this to be Raj, I just need to change the value in the URL, and it's going to change the data in my landing page dynamically. So these are the two methods that we have available. Now that actually brings me to the end of our demonstration. So we can head back to our primary stream. Let me take a look at if there's any additional questions that have come up in the chat, or if there's anything that I can answer
Sure.
for you guys.
Yeah, so there were two of them. Well, one was Robo will reply had noticed that the video embed codes were moved and that the FAQ didn't reflect that. And so he wasn't sure where it was located specifically until you ran through it just at the very end right there.
I see. Okay. I will go back and check on the FAQs to see whether they can be to correct them essentially, and see what information is being passed off right now. But yeah, there are a couple of ways for you to get the video embed codes if that's what you're looking for. As you can see here in my video page, or let me just reshare my screen.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Thank you.
So as you can see from my video page here, one of the easiest ways to get an embed code for a video is if I just, inside my templates, if I just click on use against any template. This can be done for images and videos. This is not available for landing pages right now. Landing pages have to be run through the campaign section because the configuration is a little bit involved there. But for images and videos, if you just want to get the embed code, if that's your goal, you can directly come here, just set a campaign name, run the quick campaign. You get the option to set a thumbnail if you want to as well. So let's go ahead and do that. And there's my embed code. So it's actually a shorter process than what I just showed you in the campaign. If your goal is to get an embed code, then I would recommend using this method instead. And I'll definitely go back and take a look at what is being reflected currently in our FAQs and see if that can be corrected as well.
Okay, moving on to the next one, and thank you for that. Ravi, there we go. He left a comment.
Thanks, Ravi. I'm glad I was able to answer your question.
Yeah, Abhi says that was helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhi. I look forward to hearing from you on what you make of this. We'd love it if you could share some of your expertise, insight, and success stories. So I hope to hear from all of you.
And then Brobo was saying that embed code of what is showed in the FAQ, but how to get to that is not necessarily clear. Makes sense.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll go back and take a look at that. Thank you for pointing that out.
This one's Fitness Marketing Machine. Where did the logo come from specifically? Did it pull from entering the website address?
Yes, actually, that's exactly where the logo did come from. So a quick glimpse at our image editor. Let me see if I have that open. Yeah. So we actually have a logo component. And this has been derived from that logo component. And what I've done is I've gone ahead and instead of entering a URL for the website, I've linked it to this variable. So when I enter a new website in this enlist variable value or in my landing page, it's just going to pick that up and automatically change it. So that is exactly where it's coming from, correct. And you can find links, videos for all of this in our help documentation as well. So don't worry if you missed it earlier, or if you want to practice it yourself. I'm happy to give you the right kind of guidance through that. Before we jump into more questions, I would just like to share a feedback link at this point. I would love it if all of you can give your response and candid feedback. This is the first time I'm conducting a session like this in terms of a series, so it would be really great if we could get your continuous feedback. I'm going to post this as a comment on the chat, and I'm just going to add that to the screen as well. I'm also going to be sharing an email which contains this link. So I would just like to take this moment to request all of you to take 2 minutes to just give us a feedback. That would be extremely helpful. And yeah, please keep posting your questions. We can continue addressing them. So, thank you. Thank you so much, Brian. It was my pleasure to conduct the demonstration. Stay tuned for 5 more weeks of similar demonstrations. Keep coming back. It's great to have a live audience.
I should also mention, guys, if you're on your phone, take a screenshot of that URL right there. In the future, we'll try to work on making it a little bit more friendlier. But in the meantime, just take a screenshot with your phone if you're on your mobile device.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bruce.
Opinionator, are you sending the recording or a link to a YouTube?
Yes, so this video is going to be live on YouTube, but we've created a few things for people who are watching this session today. So the first is that when you access the event page after the session is completed, you're going to be able to replay the video. This replay is going to be active till, I believe, the 20th of October. You can also watch out for an email from us where we're going to be sharing a presentation deck, taking you through the exact steps of what I've covered with you today, along with links to resources and the video for you to rewatch as well. So yeah, stay tuned for that. That's going to get to you by tomorrow, I believe. You should have an email in about 12 hours that gives you all the details. But this video is going to be live on the event page right after the event ends, so you can go back and replay it at any time.
Perfect. There you go. Thank you for the question, Opinionator. Boom. There we are. Brian is also asking, is that logo pulling from the icon and the favicon of a website, if that's the case?
Yes, that's correct, Brian. So this is actually an integration with Clearbit, I believe. So what Clearbit does is it would pull the logo directly from the favicon of the website. So that's what we're doing as well. So there's no additional setting required with Clearbit. We've sort of made it easier for our users to just extract the logo on the go.
Perfect. Marco says, I like it a lot. It's very helpful. So I have a quick question for Marco and for everyone else, such as Brian and Fitness Marketing Machine. Guys, thank you for the comments, but we'd also like to hear if you had to nitpick or give us a critique. Please give us whatever comments you'd like to drop, so that way it gives myself and Treya the ability to address that in upcoming, let's say, streams. If you want to see something more technical related, if you want to see certain features be highlighted, please let us know that. Just drop it in the comments. That way we can take that feedback and discuss it for following weekly, educational streams. Opinionator, it'd be great to see case studies from your customers with landing pages that they've developed. So basically existing customers with existing Nexweave campaigns in place. Can you do this?
That's a great question, actually. And I would love for that. That's one of the things that I'm personally really vying for. So I, as I said this at the beginning of the session, and I'm saying this now, I would love to hear your stories. If you have a case study in mind, definitely reach out to us. We can get on a call and figure out how to work that out. If you need any assistance from us in terms of helping you develop that case study or a consultation on that front, we're happy to discuss that as well. But that's currently our priority right now, to develop and build these case studies. So I'm hoping to hear from a lot of users. And as soon as we have something we can share, you guys are going to be the first to know. That's for sure.
Do we have existing Nexweave case studies from customers that have used the landing page feature that we've discussed in the past, or maybe they have relationships with Ender that maybe we could highlight for the people who are going to be coming back in future streams?
Yeah, so actually this is a relatively new feature, so we may not have as many people who've experienced it yet. But some of the future streams that we're talking about, which talk about using the Nextweave plugin with your own landing page builders like WordPress, etc. For that, I'm sure we might. I'll speak to Inder to see if we have any existing case studies on that front or any existing examples that we can share. That would help as well. And once again, to those who are watching, if you have created something, if you've been using Nextweave, if you have created something in the past, we would really love it if you could come and showcase that to other users as well, because we want this community to thrive and really work together too. So that would be wonderful.
I think that pretty much wraps it up for comments and today's education and live stream.
Great, I'm glad. So if any of you have questions, even those who may not be watching this live stream or may have dropped off at this point, but watch the video later. Uh, oh, thank you so much. Quietly working. I really appreciate that. So if you could just reach out to us on connect@nextweave.com. Let me just share that email with you. Um, you can let us know if you've missed out on anything, if you have any questions. We definitely can keep in touch through that channel. Let me just share that with you. So you can reach out to us on this email address. If you have any questions about the event, if you want to discuss anything, if you have any additional questions that you can think of, we definitely will get back to you on this. And yeah, I would love to see all of you in the next 5-6 sessions as well. If you have anybody you'd like to invite, please go ahead and share the invite link with them too. And yeah, we're hoping to make this a big success.
There was an interesting question from Marco. He says, I wish I could use it with other tools that communicate directly with LinkedIn. He's in luck.
I am so glad you asked that, Marco. So, next week's session, just to give a quick primer, we're going to be talking about Nextweave's plugin for LinkedIn. And we're going to show you how you can share these landing pages with LinkedIn, not as a link, but as an image, which will be hyperlinked to this landing page. So, that makes it an interesting way to click, an enticing click for your prospect as well. And uh, I mean, this may be a little complicated for this session, but Marco, we do have integrations with some platforms that communicate directly with LinkedIn. So you should be able to share Nextweave Media through that as well. I would just request you to maybe reach out to us on the connect@nextweave.com channel or on our support chat, and I can give you a few more details about that. But definitely come next week because I think you're going to really enjoy that session.
So I wanted to ask you a question about that because I've seen that before in the past, but I want to ask is, can you make some of those photos as a GIF that says click here, click here, click here when you send, like, let's say a message on LinkedIn?
Yes, we can. Whether it's a GIF or an image, we can. So actually, this is a new feature. This is a big thing for us because we couldn't do this previously. And now that we have an integrated landing page builder, this actually makes it really easy for us to send images on LinkedIn or GIFs on LinkedIn that will be personalized and hyperlinked to an external web page, your personalized landing pages. So you can actually build like an entire prospect customer journey. And this is a new feature, so we don't have too many people who know about it yet. but that will change next week. So definitely come back and watch that session.
Now I'm excited with Marco, because back in the day, it's like people didn't know that they had to click on that photo, right? And this is just between you and I. So the fact now that we can add an animation that's add text that says click here on a photo, that's a personalized GIF, but it's a clickable GIF that takes them to a personalized landing page. Oh my gosh, that's almost game changing. I don't
Yeah.
like using that term, but I can't think of another way to describe it.
No, absolutely. And it's not just like to make it clickable, you could do many things. You can add creative elements like put an actual button that says click here, put a play button so that people know that this is a video. So that because there's an image editor integrated, there's a video editor, you can actually get as creative as you want with this, make it as visually appealing as you want. And really the sky's the limit.
Good to know. Marco, I'll be with you. Excited for next week. There we are. Quietly working. I never received the meeting email. Please let me know. Love the training.
Yeah, for this, please do reach out to us on connect@nexweave.com. I will send you the event link. If you guys are a part of our Facebook community, we update and post fairly frequently there, including updates to this event. So definitely join that community. Um, I'll pull up a link to the community here.
Sure. Opinionator, you are very welcome. Quietly working, you're welcome as well.
So our group is facebook.com/group/media personalization. That's where you can find Nexweave's private Facebook group. Please join the group because we share a lot of updates on there. We've also got community participants interacting with each other, answering each other's questions. You can tag us directly, speak to us on that community as well. So definitely join that. I think Quietly Working shared one more question, which is I believe you do integrate with VBout as well. Yes, we do have an integration with VBout. It is not a native integration in the sense that you won't be able to connect to VBout through LinkedIn directly, but we have a workaround available. And I'd be happy to send you across the relevant links, video documentation, whatever we have on that front. Do reach out to us on Connected Next Week or on the support channel, and I'll assist you right away.
Yep. There's also it's also in the knowledge base
Oh,
on nextweave.com.
perfect.
Just
Yeah.
FYI.
So that's been dropped as the comments. If you can access that, yeah, perfect. So actually, help.nextweek.com should address 90% of your questions. Everything that you've been asking has been documented. So please do have a look at that because honestly, all your questions for next week are available there. And then we also have the community. We have the Connect at Next Week email channel. We have our live support channel. So you have plenty of access to resources. Those of you who are new to Nexweave, we have an active YouTube channel where this video is going to be going up as well. But we have a Get Started playlist, which is a series of 5 videos where we've covered all the basics related to Nexweave, creating images, videos, what are variables, what are components. All the basic questions you have will definitely get answered there. So do have a look at that as well.
I should also mention that we have the integration with VBout and Nexweave through Zapier. If you're using Zapier for triggers, I'll put that down as well.
Correct. Thank you. That's a great point.
There you go. Okay, I guess that's it. Unless you want to ask or answer that last question by Ravi.
Can we animate custom name or logo in the picture? So Ravi, we won't be able to animate the images, but we can definitely animate components on the videos. I'd be happy to share a link to that in just a second. But I would recommend that you go through our if you're keen to watch a video on creating video templates as well as animating components on it, we have a great video on our Get Started playlist on our YouTube channel. So let me just pull that up and share that with you in a minute.
But Ravi, that's interesting. A custom name. I'm wondering. Actually, it makes sense doing that on a video where you can have a name being spelled out little by little, right? So Bruce would be Bruce, and it's a name that is, yes, is personalized, but you're spelling it out letter by letter. That would be cool. I could see how that would be eye catching for something that's like a personalized name in a campaign.
So the letter by letter is not available right now, but basic animations like specifying the entry, exit time, um, that is available, and you can do multiple different types of animations within that, but it would be animating the whole word. So you can have the name appear and then disappear. That's absolutely possible, but we can't animate any one letter at a time, at least for the time being.
And quietly working is the Salesforce integration native.
Sorry. So the Salesforce integration is also not native at the moment. But the thing is, what you have to understand is that what makes Nexweave so flexible is the fact that with the URL overrides, you could potentially embed these images, videos anywhere in any kind of software as long as that platform allows you to have dynamic links. So, Salesforce, as far as I know, does permit having dynamic links, does permit personalization in emails. So, whether or not you have a native integration, it is still very simple to use it with Nextweave.
Yeah, it's as simple as a copy and paste essentially, because you can
Exactly.
quietly working. That's the best way to look at it. That's what makes Salesforce so robust. That's what makes NextWeave so robust, is because a lot of the integrations are just copy and paste solutions. That's the best way to describe it. And think about it, it makes them ultimately more compatible with other solutions. By the way, I'll include that down below here. So if you're on your phone, just take a screenshot of that so you can see how simple it is to have Salesforce and NextWeave integrate with each other. We have a lot of people that have mentioned that they've integrated that, and it doesn't take that long to do.
Yeah, as Bruce mentioned, it's just about copy paste. It really is. It really is that simple. So even if it's not natively integrated, I would say don't worry about it at all.
Glad to see that's working out for you. Robbie Zappi, you are very welcome, sir. If each letter is its own word, then it would work. I guess that would make sense, right? So if Bruce, Bruce, would be five different words, right? Bru. You could have a 5 word animation. Just add one letter on. Yeah, technically you could do that.
You could do that. Just be. You could definitely achieve that. Actually, that's very creative. But you just be careful of the personalization variables you're creating because you do
Yeah.
want the BRUCE to be dynamic at the end of the day. So as long as you take care of that, it should be good.
And we'll wrap it up with today's for the stream with this being the last question. If a logo is not
Mhm.
available on a website, is there any way to include like a default logo, right, for small businesses that don't have a website? That's a good question.
So you, as a default image, you could definitely specify a placeholder when you're creating your the image template. So you've seen where the fallback values appear. So if you have a URL that appears there, that's just going to pick that up as the fallback. So it's no problem if you don't have a logo there. You could also manually upload a logo and use that URL. That's also possible.
Sarah Vannon, thank you very much for that question. That was a good one. That's not something that we get asked often, but that does come up a lot when people create their campaigns.
Definitely, definitely it does.
We should share this real quick. There's a link. Let me see if I can pull it up
Mhm.
to submit questions, and then we can vote on it. Let me see if I can find it.
So
There
just
it
to
is.
answer the follow-up question from Saravanan, um, yes. So you've seen us up. You saw me create the landing page with the CSV. So if one of your inputs is the image logo, you could actually, instead of using the logo component, you could technically use an image component as well and just specify URLs in each row as the variable. So that would work as well. Again, I would recommend a particular article. Let me share that with you.
Sure. Robo reply. There's the link to submitting ideas and requests right there. Nexweave.com/roadmap. And this is for Saravanin's follow up. There you go. Excellent. Glad to see you happy, Saravanin.
Okay, great. So I think we've crossed our time for today. So let's thank you so much to all of you for attending, and thank you so much for being active on the chat and asking questions as well. It really makes for a nice interactive session. I really hope that you enjoyed today's use case, that you find it useful, and that we get to hear some great customer success stories and get to be a part of your customer journey as well in your personalization journey. And yeah, thank you. And please stay tuned for the next 5 weeks. You're going to be hearing from us about more interesting use cases. So do participate and join us in those live sessions as well. And hopefully, I'll see you all in exactly 1 week.
I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you so much, Bruce.
You too. Thanks for inviting me. This was fun.
I'm glad. I'm glad. Great to have you here. Thank you.
Have a good one, guys.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.